3. Teresa, will you take roll?
Absolutely. Ms. Wyckoff? Mr. Dees? Dr. Pandolfi? Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Hey, Cody, can you hear us?
Yes, Teresa, we can hear you. We do not have any board members online.
Okay, thank you. Go.
Is he in? Here, Yummy?
No, no one's on the call.
She just told me she's on Zoom. No?
She on the different.
I don't know.
No, I don't have anyone on Zoom.
Cody, could you reach out to her?
Yes.
To make sure everything's all right.
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the agenda. Any changes? If none, like a motion and a second. So second. Favor? Aye. Aye and aye. If there's nobody else, I don't have to ask the other two, do I?
Right.
All right, minutes, you had those. I don't know when you read them, I made one word change. Teresa, I think, has regarding the budget, just word taking out the word context and putting in content and finances. Anyway, unless there are changes, I'd like a motion in a second to approve the minutes.
I move the minutes of the previous June 9th meeting be approved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, Quan?
Okay, for the whole fiscal year,
Hold on, can we get the schedule up here first before you start?
yeah, the monthly financial report, yes, okay. For the whole fiscal year, we have received tax revenue close to $62 million. The budget is $61.3 million. It's for $700,000 for that budget. Now, compared to last year, it's about $600,000 lower than last year's number. That's due to the reduced tax levy. If we look at it by tax type, the real property tax is about 5% lower than last year. And but personal property tax was 10 to 14% higher than last year.
And that is due to?
The assessment.
Right, but
Yes.
personal property is primarily autos?
Yes. Especially used cars.
So counties, and I know this happened in Platte, they didn't depreciate like they always do. So just to note, used car prices are down year to date, I think around 14%.
Yeah.
Range.
We will talk more about that.
Yeah, fine.
Just quick note, Dr. Pandolfi is on the call now.
Thank you.
Welcome.
The total operating revenue is about $57.4 million. That's higher than last year's number by about $200,000. Besides the tax, the biggest increase in revenue is the passport service. We have received about $10,000 to $12,000 a month for passport service. Next page, on the,
Go back up, Cody.
okay,
All right.
yeah, for the operating expenditure side, the payroll and benefits is $33.6 million. That's about 99% of the budget. Library materials, we spent close to $11 million, over 95 of the budget. All other operating accounts is about $9.5 million, close to 90% of the budget. Some accounts, had a variance for below the budget. For example, like truck vehicle operations, we budgeted out one new truck, but delays on delivery. So we will receive that in the new fiscal year. Conference and travel is under the budget by about $100,000. Contract service is under the budget by about $200,000 due to lower cost in cleaning and the savings in security upgrade. Professional fees is over the budget by about $20,000 due to higher legal fee and other consulting fees. Yes.
On this contract services, you said on the security side, I know last year we took out 100,000.
That's for the security officers.
Okay, but so did we not do something on the security?
Also budgeted for some security equipment upgrade.
Okay,
That did not happen.
so are those being rolled forward or did you?
Some of them, yes, but some of them being replaced by other options.
Okay,
Contracted services is gone. Because we expanded the security
Right,
department, so
right.
there isn't the extra $100,000 for contracted
right. No, I
services.
knew, yeah, I remember that.
The equipment that we couldn't get due to supply chain issues last year have been moved forward.
The last one is building maintenance. That's below, under the budget by about $100,000.
Good, I have a question.
Yes,
On payroll, I thought, did I read or you told me there was implementation of the salary late, what was the financial impact of that roughly?
Well, that adjustment was budgeted. And so,
Last year.
yeah,
Okay, all right.
so that's what, but we delayed that implementation until the end of the year. So
Okay,
that's why we're up at 99%.
okay, all right. Are you done or do I have another question?
for operating fund, yeah, I'm done.
All right, so the last line on the page is the net interest income,
Yes,
1,125,000. Does that include the market value change?
yes.
And how much is that?
The net interest income is about $500,000 to $600,000. Market adjustment about roughly about the same amount.
So our cash, okay. So if you broke this into, by the way, I'd like this broken out going forward. Actually, I'd like this broken out for the board meeting on Tuesday. So there should be a line called interest income, okay? And then a line for change in unrealized gain loss. So that's my question. How much, you're saying the change in unrealized gain loss is 500,000
Yes,
to the negative or to the good?
positive.
Positive. So our cash interest income or our interest income is 600,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like that broken out going forward because the unrealized gain loss is a non-cash item. Again, unless we're going to sell bonds early, that's just a timing difference and doesn't affect cash.
Okay. That's for the operating fund. For capital project fund, we spent for capital improvement plan for the whole fiscal year, we spent close to $19 million. The budget is about $19.8 million. There was a detailed comparison later for the meeting. The next one is
Again, are we compared to budget, are things apples to apples, or are there timing issues that came into play here? Did we spend more than budget simply because the contractors are ahead, or, and I know you're going to get to the details, but relative to the budget, does some timing come into play here in terms of, it looks like we were $1.2 million lower against the budget,
Yeah.
but
There was a
is that real savings or that's just timing issues?
There was a small piece is due to the timing issue, like a reading rocket, because of the delay. And for capital plan, it's very close to the budget. In that the amount of expenditure includes a liability about $1.9 million to JE. So
For what they've already incurred.
for the work they completed in the month of June.
Right.
Yeah. So that's very close to, the construction.
Okay, all right.
The last one, I'd like to talk about the health insurance fund. The whole year, the employer's contribution is a little over $3.8 million. That's 100% of budget. On the expenses side, the administrative fee and the stop loss is close to $1.2 million. That line will be separated starting July. Medical claims is close to $2.7 million. I have not been able to adjust the year-end liability year. But based on the current numbers, we had a net loss about $65,000 versus a budget net loss about $396,000. At the end of the month, yes.
A couple of questions. One, do we have the breakout of the admin and stop loss?
Not for last year, but we will for.
So do we not get that from?
I'm sorry. On the expenses side, yes, we do, but not the budget.
Well, the budget can be what it is. I don't care about that. I'm just saying the 1.2 million, do we have a breakout?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so can we do that for the board meeting? Make that change?
Okay.
So, I mean, the million, I'm not worried about the budget, but I'd like to see what the breakdown is just on the year-to-date actual side. And then you said something about claims that you don't have the certain amount, so you don't have something.
Because June is the last month of the year. After June, we are still in the middle of the year and the closing. Not all the accounts have been adjusted. For example, this is for health insurance fund. We will adjust the year-end liability to include IBNR, and we are still working on that.
Okay.
And
all right, so that raises a question then. So the 2.6 million is a cash number?
yes,
We don't carry an IBNR in our.
we do. We just need to adjust to reflect the June 30th balance.
So in this number, there is a change in, so is the IBNR based on, is the IBNR you currently have booked the same as the year in June 30, 22?
Yes,
Okay.
it's close to, but they're
How much, what is your liability carry?
about $370,000.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The cash on hand is about $1.5 million, and the fund balance is $1.2 million. Based on the health insurance fund balance policy, the minimum fund balance required is a little over $700,000. And the maximum fund balance allowed is $1.1 million. So before any adjustments, the current fund balance is a little over the max allowed.
Okay. So, and I'm sorry for the questions. So the maximum fund balance, is that an internal policy?
Yes.
but it's not a legal or statutory.
That's a
So-
internal board policy.
We don't have to adjust. We don't have to reduce the fund balance. That is
That's,
because again, these numbers float. So I kind of look at this as a long-term type thing and
yes,
you can't be, it's like your IBNR. You can't be perfect on IBNR. It's an estimate.
yeah,
And so your fund balance is, a number at a point in time and, 6 months from now, you could be down at the minimum.
yes. And the fund balance requires us to do two calculations a year. The end of June and in December before the renewal year. So we can make a decision, anytime after those two.
But again, I just want to repeat, there's no requirement that we reduce the fund balance, which would mean transferring cash back into the operating fund.
Only if the board chooses to.
All right, thank you.
Again, all those numbers are not final, and we are still working on the year-end closing. And now, the audit will start soon, and we will present the final number in September. That's my monthly financial reports.
Questions?
Go ahead.
I'd like to review, I think the last reassessment that there were a lot of appeals in Jackson County was 2 years ago.
2019.
19, okay.
Yes.
Obviously, appeals are going, I think, going fairly long into the year. And isn't there a policy or a statute that controls on, if not everything that is to be received by a political subdivision, it does carry over into the next year somehow? And I'm just trying to figure out how much can potentially be carried over for receipts, and when does it have to be reimbursed in political subdivision?
Okay, there are two situations. One is taxpayer can make a payments under protest.
Sure.
In that case, the county will hold the payments for 90 days before release to us.
Okay.
The other one is not to pay. So they will fight all the way to the state. And we don't know when the final settlement will be. Back in 2019, I remember in Jackson County alone had over 20,000 accounts under protest. And the amount is about close to $1.4 million in 2019. But in the following 2 years, we received most of those amount.
And I think that would be correct. So what does that do to the actual budgeting process for the next fiscal year? If you're assuming, you present figures here for real property receipts from Jackson County, for example, but it may take more than this fiscal year to
Yes,
obtain all that.
Yes.
So in 19, was there a deficit funding question?
no, we still received the budget amount in 2019. Even we had over $1 million in under protest, and we received them late.
Yeah.
So
it came before the last half of the fiscal year then?
or the following first.
The following?
Yes, following, yeah. Also,
Go ahead.
okay, for current fiscal year,
Yes.
for budgeted amount, we reduced the collection rate
Sure.
to 93%. In the past, it was between 94 and 95.
Just again, to clarify, because you have your tax, can you pull the tax schedule, Cody?
That's for agenda 12.
Yes, just one moment.
If we're talking about that. So agenda what? Oh,
12.
I had this under financials, sorry.
I'm sorry, which part are you asking? me?
Under, I guess it's under number 12. Should be a
Alright, let me
statement
get
of
there.
taxes received. Or wherever you
I
have, it.
apologize. Let me find it real quick.
probably at the tail end of your packet. Oh, there it
Is this
is.
what you're talking about?
Yes, can you increase that? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so, Juan, if I understand what you're saying here, the appealed assessments, the taxes are paid. Taxes can be paid. And then we received that 90 days later. Is that what I heard correctly?
Yes,
So at most, there's a short-term, very short-term delay there. Okay.
depends on when they make that payment. It could be in the same fiscal year or the following fiscal year.
Okay. So so when does, in your schedule, let's assume someone appeals, if they pay the taxes by the 31st of December and we get it 90 days later, does that show up in your current
Yes,
section? Okay.
yes,
If they appeal and pay it, say in March or April, where does it show up on the schedule?
not on this schedule, but every month we present another report to show the current tax and delinquent tax. After July 1st, everything is delinquent.
Okay. So regardless of when the pay, so delinquent can be paid late or not paid at all and paid somewhere down the road.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
To continue with that, so in 19, you certainly had people that paid in 2019, the calendar year, under our protest. But if it's received within 90 days, it's still in the fiscal year, so it doesn't impact total budget amount during the fiscal year, because even though
If we received it before July 1st,
yes, yeah, 6 months of the fiscal year. Obviously, in 19, taxes are physically due.
Yeah.
But that's only halfway through that fiscal year. So and I just wanted to know, because I think there'll be more appeals this time than there were in 19. And my question is, and none of us know, just does the Board of Equalization in Jackson County resolve this before 90 days of 2024? Did they resolve it before 90 days of 2020?
This isn't the, I guess, again, at least what I'm understanding here, isn't if the taxes are paid, and they appeal, that money is sitting with the collector. And we received that 90 days later. So if the appeal holds and the taxes are reduced, does the county come back and say, send us money back?
yes,
They do.
yes,
So do we hold a reserve for that?
it will,
How much have we had to give back in the past?
not very small amount. Usually will be offset by other delinquent tax.
If most of it's collected within 90 days of the new calendar year, half of the fiscal year, it balances out. I get it. I'm just, I hear more upsetness today than I did in 2019 in Jackson County. And I don't know what's going to, there's a class action lawsuit now. So I don't know what's going to happen.
That's just individual. Business could protest too.
Yeah.
And like an energy company, merge, it took us 3 years to receive the.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that I don't know the level of protesting that's going to take place. But I just want us to be aware that there's still 6 months of a fiscal year. I get it. But I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
So anyway.
All right. Claude, before we're done, let's go back to the balance sheet. So Cody, let's go back up to right there. Thank you. Thank you for increasing the size. So let's look at this because this comes into play here when we get into number 8. So can you tell us where we stand between the general fund and the capital fund? I know that there are other funds, but not concerned about those. So the general fund and capital fund, can you walk through those?
Yeah, the cash we have under the general fund, we have about $25 million. And the capital, only $100,000 is in the bank account. Close to $25 million is in the long-term bonds. Won't be available until 1 or 2 years from now. So we have to rely on the $24 to $25 million from operating fund to fund the first few months of operation. And the line of credit has been approved by the central bank.
Okay.
Also, on the liability side, because this is the end of the fiscal year, usually we process about 30% more invoices than average, especially some big ones from construction companies. So the year-end liability has been increased to over $4 million. Also, we have a pay lag, so we have accrued the payroll for about $1.1 million. So that's the balance sheet for both.
Are you changing payroll? Does that,
No,
I thought you were changing payroll to twice a month?
it has not happened yet.
But that
Bi-weekly.
hasn't happened yet. It's dependent on review of our policy proposals that we submitted to personnel yesterday. So there'll need to be a second reading in the month of August. If that's approved, then we could implement it as soon as September.
And Juan, in the capital fund, I assume that, and I don't have the statement, that you're pulling out whatever money market is in that. So you have a central bank cash account and you have the money market and trust side. We
Yes.
out.
Yes, we have $100,000 in the central bank account. And we have in the central trust investment account, we had about $300,000 in money market.
Okay. Is there a reason we don't pull that over, or are you pulling that over?
No big reason. If we want to, we can anytime.
All right.
That's
Well,
Yeah.
just hanging off the funding mechanism. So, okay.
And we will talk about the tax receivable later. You know, if you want to, we can talk about that now. Otherwise,
Well, I don't know. We talk about the which.
under agenda 12 is going to be the levy certification.
Let's finish the financials and then we'll get to that.
Okay, so you want me to, okay,
We have to follow the exact agenda. We get in trouble if we skip.
Speak with the expert over there.
You can, well, you cover all the items.
okay. I can continue with the tax receivable.
Okay, let's just keep going.
Every year,
Sorry, Cody.
still on the same page. Yeah, it's fine, that's fine. Can you enlarge the number?
Back on this,
To the bottom. Okay, at the bottom of that page, there was a,
hold on, I'm not on the right page.
They have it, that's right on your right there.
No, I have,
Assessment and collection.
yeah, I don't, but I don't. I didn't print that. Oh, well.
I should have it a minute ago.
I don't have it, but it's all right. I'll look at the board.
okay. At the bottom of that page on the screen,
Can we go back to the top and explain the schedules and make sure everybody's on following along here?
okay,
Can you show the heading, Cody? Okay,
okay. That statement shows the assessment we received from all three counties and also the tax collection rate. I mean, do you want me to go over the assessment or do that later? Because I was just planning to talk about the tax receivable.
let's persist till later.
Okay,
The receivable is part of this discussion.
yeah.
Yeah, let's push it.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah,
So,
now that I see
so
what now that I see what you're doing.
move down to the bottom of the statement. The bottom section is the tax receivable. And at the end of the fiscal year, I usually contact all three counties to get the number of outstanding tax amount owed to the library. The total amount is $3.2 million, $3.28 million. And also I compare the balance of each year with the balance a year ago to calculate the collection rate. And the collection rate has not changed much. It's from 52% in 2022 to now is like 51%. But the receivable, total receivable has increased from $3.2 million to 3.5. Also, for all those amounts, we still need to pay 2% commission to each county for the service. So net of the service fee and the collection, based on the collection rate, we believe the net amount is about $1.7 million at the end of the fiscal year. So that's the tax receivable.
Right.
Okay, so that's my report for the monthly financial.
Okay, thank you. The disbursement detail was on, Yummy, by the way, Yummy, you're still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Michelle, you're online? Oh,
I'm trying, but I keep losing signal.
all right. Do you have any questions? I didn't mean to skip over you. Because you're not sitting here. Either of you have questions on the financials, comments?
No, I'm good here.
Okay. Michelle?
No, because honestly, I haven't heard them all. I'm gonna have to go back and.
Okay. All right. Disbursement detail was online. There are any questions on that? I didn't see anything that raised a flag or anything wrong for Bob.
No.
Okay. Yummy or Michelle? Come on, let's talk
No.
about investments. Oops, sorry. Is that a no?
Yeah, no.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to investments.
Okay. Investment, we have two accounts in Central Trust. The first half of the statement is the capital investment account. At the end of the month, we have about $23.6 million in bonds and CDs and 414,000 in money market. Those are the market value. The cost basis is $25.9 million. The market value is little over $24 million. So we had an unrealized loss about $1.9 million. That number changes every month. For the operating investment accounts, we had close to $9 million in bonds and CDs. Most of them will be matured in July. And we had about little over $1 million in money market. The market value is a little over $10 million. And the cost basis is close to $9.4 million. So we had a unrealized gain about $651,000. That's for the investment.
If we're sitting in short term on the operating side, what's the duration you're buying?
Short term is right now it's between, well, all the bonds we have will be matured in July. And if we when we receive new tax revenue in December, usually I will buy between 3 to 6 months.
So isn't the 651 really, if those are July maturities, isn't that mostly just interest or we're buying discount? We're buying discount.
Discount. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So is the plan to stay fully invested until we absolutely need this? Because the spread, the treasuries now are sitting around 540 on under 3 months. I know your cash, I know you get interest on the cash account, but there's probably a 90-day, 90, 100-point spread?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I would encourage taking advantage of that and keeping fully invested as much as possible. Till we get to have to fill the hole.
Yes. And also on the banking side, the central bank has given us the very competitive interest rate.
Right. Okay. Okay. Personnel schedule. I say, any questions on that? All right, let's go to the personnel schedule. And is Jennifer here? No?
No,
Okay. You want to make some comments on here? I mean, we're below budget, no surprises. You've done some things, so.
you were below by what? It's like 300.
So $300,000 below the budget, but for salary, we spent about 98.5% of the budget.
Any questions on this? Again, I think this is just helpful to know where the dollars are going and how they're being used. Okay. Item 6, Prop L. We have, if you looked at it, this is regard to the RFP that was put out at the end of May. Juan, you sent this out to what, 10?
12 firms. And well, CBS emailed me some questions and they declined. CLA, responded.
Nobody else?
No one else.
Nobody else inquired or responded?
That's correct.
Interesting. Okay, well, you guys have this printed copy?
Yes.
So we're not going to walk through this. I'd skip back to their page 13. I don't know what PDF page that is. And that's yeah, with the piece on it. So I guess a couple thoughts. One, we didn't exclude CFO systems. I don't know if they just decided not to respond for some reason. And just kind of sitting back and watching, observing. But my concern about this proposal is the number of hours and whether, I guess, given what we thought should be done, this will be adequate. That's my initial observation on this. The other thing, the other question I had, and I'm just going to, again, this is a discussion, so speak up. We have now engaged project management consultants who does this work. And I don't know if they would be interested in taking a look at this. Are we obligated to make decisions based on what's been submitted?
No, you can reject.
We can reject it, or we can defer this, we can reject it, we can do that, correct? Okay. So I guess those are my, I guess I'm a little surprised. I do know the industry is resource short. Just if you're not in the industry, the CPA industry is going through an evaluation to look at the CPA exam, which way back when, I want to say back in the 90s, first thing they did is they put the 150-hour requirement in in order to be certified and sit for the exam. And then they squeezed the timetable to pass the 4 parts of the exam into 18 months. And I personally have provided my comments and said that had those constraints been in place when I came into the industry, probably half the people I worked with would have never become CPAs. Because you're working in some cases 70 to 80 hours a week. Life gets in the way. There are people that have children and it just seemed like an awkward, I don't understand why they put 18 months in. So there is discussion now to move that 18 months to 30 months, but long story short is they're in a long-term predicament now for resources. So I don't know if that's having an impact on this and whether they want to respond or whether they didn't like the project. Hard to tell. And CBiz withdrew because of what?
I don't know exactly the reason. They asked about the scope of the work and our expectation.
Did they say anything about timing?
No, they did not tell.
Anyway, so I guess that's kind of a commentary about what's going on with the industry. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we talk to project management consultants and see if this is something they would be interested in looking at it? And it doesn't mean we have the way we approve this, we're not restricted to a single form, or firm. This could be done on a joint basis as well.
Further discussion would be needed.
Yeah, I'd be very receptive to effectively tabling this. I noticed too, the scope of it struck me as being something that I would question the merit of whatever would develop from any effort from this. Again, too, I think there's a sense of not overlap, but similar focus with what we're doing already.
So what's your opinion?
I guess formally table or just informal. Yeah, I think review it, but I don't think we have to do it today.
Yumming? Or Michelle, I don't know, Michelle, did you drop off for Yumming? I know Michelle's having connection issues.
I'm here, but I'm having big issues. Sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't hear the last comments that I think it was Bob made.
We'll ask everybody to speak louder. At least I think the consensus here at the table is we should table this and have some discussions with these other groups. I guess I would like to contact CFO Systems to find out why they didn't respond. If that's any concern with that?
I don't mind asking some of these others too. You had 12 sent to, but yeah, what was the response?
Yeah.
Why so many, not all 11 or 10 left, but yeah, what was the general view as to why they didn't?
The only one that I remember, Forbes, I think initially declined because they had a conflict, and I don't know if that's with Don or whoever. But I'll be glad to go back and ask them the question as well and just, get clarification. But so should Aaron talk to project management? I guess you have the channel with them. So
Yeah, I'll bring it up with them.
okay. And I can go back to, Quan, why don't you and I coordinate and we can just, I don't know who else was on the list.
Okay.
I'm not going to call 10 different firms. I just would like some general feedback as to why they declined to respond.
Yes, usually we have to make a decision on the ones we received before we take any actions further to talk to other firms.
Well, I think the consensus of the decision is that we table this matter.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, I just don't want to echo what you mentioned too. Decades ago, when we sat for the test, there was a 4-year degree requirement or the equivalent of a degree if you didn't even have an accounting degree. And you could take the test in portions. Now it's, you have to cram it all down these kids' throats. So the market for graduates of the 5-year program for certification is dried up. So I think in terms of staffing, cyclical times such as, audit times, a lot of calendar year clients, it's tough out there.
Yeah, they're dying for resources.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you. Now, the only thing I will note is this hit the press about 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks. Pete Marvick's laying off 5% of, I don't know which staff, 5% of the US staff is being cut. So some of that is a consulting environment, cutbacks, and what we'll call consulting type projects. And it could be, I don't think some of it is related to the staff requirement when you have Wall Street heat up with going public, that market dries up, and it has. So that all comes into play. Well, let's do this. I'll contact CFO Systems. I would like to go back to Forvis and just find out if there's what the conflict is and if that can be resolved here. And Darren, if you can talk to the project management guys, and we'll come back next meeting. All right. Okay. All right. So do we need a motion to table this, or?
No, I don't believe you need a motion. I think Quan is right. Quan said that there needs to be some action. I don't know if it's board action, but some type of response to the responders.
Well, we can just tell them we're going to table it and to have some additional inquiries made, and we'll get back to them, and hopefully by the middle of August. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the schedule of Prop L expenditures. About that new schedule. Juan?
Yes, sorry, I was getting to that page. Yes, this is a summary or a comparison of the current expenditure on capital improvement plan versus the 2017 capital plan budget. The first column is the amount paid by June 30, 2023. The total amount of construction is close to $91.7 million. And the estimate to complete is $12.7 million. So the total project cost for construction is $104 million. The 2017 capital plan budget, including the contingency, is $89.7 million. Other costs like design, which is most of them is for the architectural service. We spent about $9.6 million from 2017 all the way to the end of June 30, 2023. And we, there was a small adjustment we probably had to make, about negative 40,000, but the projected total is $9.6 million versus 2017 budget, $8.45 million.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Have we paid the architects everything? Are they not involved in the current projects?
Oh, they are, yeah.
So we didn't hold anything back? Because it looks like they owe us money. Looks like the way, if I'm reading your schedule right, they owe us 40,000.
No, that's due to a adjustment, not because they owe us money. It's because the account codes, adjustment to the account codes may not be correct in the past. We miscoded on some expenses. Yeah.
So that's going to fall down in one of these other categories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but it looks like we paid the architects in full.
Everything they billed us, yes. There might be some
back, is it normal to hold back part of their fee until we're done? I don't know. I'm just asking the question and I don't know what the contract says. So anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Land, the budget in 2017 is $5.4 million with a disposal of the property, $2 million. But we spent about $5.4 million. Furniture and fixture account, the budget is $7.6 million, and we spent $5.17 million, and we have about $1.5 million more. So total amount is 6.7 versus the 2017 budget, $7.6 million. IT equipment, we spent close to $4 million. We may have another $364,000 more to spend. So the total projected cost is $4.3 million. The budget is $4 million. There was no budget in 2017 for moving and storage, and we spent about $1.1 million, and may have $215,000 more to pay. So the total projected amount is a $1.37 million. Add them up. The total cost we paid so far is $117 million. We estimate to have about $14.8 million more to pay. And the total project cost is going to be $131.8 million. If we add that $2 million capital disposal to the 2017 budget, the total budgeted amount is $115 million. And the total project will be $131.8 million. So it will make over the 2017 budget by about $16.5 million. Also, we have decided to take on Riverside. So there was an adjustment because Riverside only had a small budget, $741,000 in 2017. So if we exclude the Riverside, the overage over the 2017 budget is that will be $8.2 million. If we include the Riverside, it will be over by $16.5 million.
Okay, just a couple of points. And I didn't bring the book with me, but the capital plan budget and there are a couple different variations of the numbers other than the 89.7. Because some of that was grouped when you looked at the original budget in the budget book, and then what was included in the year-to-year budget that you had in your that you presented and was approved. So the moving and storage, I think you have to add all those numbers together. And so if I add the 1.3 in the, so I got 1.7.
1.37, yes.
We're over budget in the aggregate on those three items. The other thing, when we first identified this last November, I think the cash deficiency was in the range of 8 million. Does that sound about right? And that was net of the interest. So that's increased to 9.6 at this point.
Yes, I could verify the original estimate was about $7 million. Now it's like an 8.2.
Right. Well, the original estimate for Riverside was 6 million.
Okay.
On the bill, on the construction. Actually, the estimates last year were 6 million on all three of the branches, and they all came in much higher. Okay, thank you. This is very helpful. Okay, so we have the whole film. Okay, Any questions? Yummy? Or Michelle, if you're still there? Let's go to number 7. Cash flow.
I have updated the cash flow projection based on the numbers on June 30.
Cody, can you bump that up a little bit so we can see? Thank you.
At the end of the fiscal year, we have available cash about $25.4 million. And based on the new fiscal year's budget, probably we will have a cash shortage for about $4.8 million. That number is in red. The original estimate was about $8 million. The reduction was due to the net operating surplus.
Juan, wasn't our first pass at this in the range of like 14,
12.
12 or 14? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then not quite a third or 2/3, but
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So again, the cash shortfall by the end of November, maybe just below $5 million. But that number could change, depends on, now there's a uncertainty in the construction schedule. If there's a delay in construction, that number may go maybe smaller.
Well, it can't go over 8 million because that's all you have available, right?
Yes. I mean, the shortfall will be small. So a year from now, into the fiscal year 24-25, the cash shortfall may be $9.4 million. But again, that number will change, depends on the operating surplus or deficit for the fiscal year.
Right. And that's also because our bond maturities hit in the, if I remember right, 25 and 26, right?
So most
That's the bulk of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also depends on the collection of the tax revenue. So that's the cash flow projection.
Okay. Better. Thank you. Item 8 is the fund transfer. This was in the, I guess, you want to take this? I know this is budgeted. So do you want to explain?
Yes.
What?
Part of the current year's budget, there was a $9 million transfer from general fund, which is the operating fund, to capital project fund. The transfer will not change the cash amount we have. It will reduce due to and due from between operating fund and a capital project fund.
Okay, so just explain, at the end of June, the capital fund had a liability to the general fund of $18,536,000. So if we transfer 9 million, we're cutting that in half. This is a bookkeeping entry, right?
Yes.
Because we're not going to move any cash around.
So right now, we use the operating fund cash to pay capital project expenditures. And that creates a due to and a due from balance.
Okay, so good discussion. So the motion, you don't have a motion typed up, Teresa.
Well, I did. But,
You did?
well, I did. We weren't sure how. I can read it to you.
Oh, go ahead. Then I don't,
Okay.
I mean, I can make it up or you can read it, what you have.
This is standard, approval of a recommendation to the full board of a resolution to move $9 million. $9 million from operating fund to capital project fund, representing operating revenues over operating expenditures fiscal year 2022
Okay, that last part has to, I think the resolution should be, the motion of the board is to transfer $9 million from the general fund to the capital fund. Period.
And do we want
I can
to,
say based on current year's budget.
Yeah, which is, yeah, in line with the current, the 23-24 fiscal budget.
one more question on the operating fund, is that the operating fund or we call it the general fund? The same thing.
General fund.
Okay, let's try this again. Approve of a recommendation to the full board of a resolution to transfer $9 million from the general fund to the capital project fund based on current year's budget, based on current year's fiscal year budget of 2022 to 2023.
23-24.
Okay, I will put that in for docs.
So who wants to make a motion? Ron? And second? Second. And any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
That's aye. Michelle, are you still on? You dropped.
Do you want to do a roll call on that?
Well, and Yummy did aye, and there were 3 ayes here. So,
And Cody, Michelle's dropped off.
That is correct. Michelle's dropped off.
okay. It is, all right, the Forvis disbursement report, I know it's on board doc, it's not on board docs. I put this on here, this was presented in February, is that right? I think that is right. No. To the board, there were some items that had already, there was the staff response, and there were some items that had to be followed up. I'm not wanting to go through this again in detail. I just wanted to keep it on the table because there are a few things that are still in process. I identified number 7, which is the fraud hotline. Aaron has been doing some investigating on that.
Right.
I want to comment on that.
Sure. So we asked for proposals for ethics and fraud hotline services and received 2 responses, Forvis and Navix. Is that how it's pronounced?
I think so, yeah.
Both NAVEX. Both offer risk and compliance management solutions for organizations our size. We need to do a little bit more work on actually scoping out the service because it's our opinion that they're a little too broad and there's some overlap with our human resources functions. So we need to circle back with both companies and talk about exactly what service they would deliver to the library.
And I, the others are welcome to comment. My concern is that that this have a financial focus. It wasn't intended to open up to everybody complaining about anything. It really had a financial focus in terms of resources but I'll just call it cash and credit card abuse, whatever, credit card fraud. So that was the primary concern. And anyway, so we'll let you.
So yeah, we are in contact and we'll give you an update next month.
All right. Number 8 was the security awareness training. Is that it's an IT thing?
General staff security awareness training has happened and it's been completed.
Okay. Is this ongoing?
It's every year.
Okay.
Yep.
Are there? I know I've asked this. You do test emails to see if people.
We're going to start that shortly.
You are.
Yeah, but the general awareness training has,
Okay.
it was in the 3 months leading up to the end.
Okay.
It's done, so.
And all the financial people have,
Yes,
which is where, I mean,
yeah, we have our own trainings too.
okay, all right. Let's see, the number 9 was payment authorizations, and best practices. Did we get changes to that? Did we have any policy revisions made? Where do we stand?
No, again, we're going over our policies right now and make a recommendation to the board. Based on what we learned. I do want to back up if you have.
No, that's fine, sorry.
Just number 4, again, talking about vetting software solutions for accounting and ERP. We've identified 3 companies, all 3 of which will be giving demonstrations to staff, and then we'll, make recommendations on what we've learned. Juan made a trip out west, the GFOA conference, and it's very productive conversations, and we're confident that we'll settle on a solution sometimes.
Okay. So we're currently using the
Blackbaud, right?
the old system.
Yes.
The conversion to, so the upgrade to whatever it was, NXT.
Cloud based, we did that and
Yeah, was, okay, all right. Did I skip anything else? Didn't mean to do that.
No, well, just to button up number 1, we did look at the number of purchasing cards we have. We've settled on 80 that are out there in use system-wide. The cards, they primarily serve the purpose of procuring supplies, materials to support library programming and services. And there's another use for registering for conference and professional development. But we're confident that there's a strong business case for 80 cards as being the right number for our organization.
Yeah, I thought you'd address this.
Yeah, I
That
just
already, so,
think maybe it was left out there. I just wanted everybody to.
but we got it, but the 2 big ones are gone, which was the biggest concern.
Right.
So. I'm just going back. The number 3 was segregation of duties, but you have limited staff, you have to do extra things and just have extra oversight. That's the way it is. For vendor file, I assume Quan that was taken care of earlier, correct? Your inactive or dead vendors?
Yes, we have, we'll
Fixed
get all.
that, okay. Again, number 10 was vacations, and again, with limited number of staff, you just have to do extra steps and
We love to take more vacations.
Pardon?
We love to take more vacations.
11 was a capital plan. Aaron has that under control. And I think that was it. That number 13 was the budget, but I'll let you, that's going to follow the system.
Yes, we have implemented that. Not the last one.
You have, okay.
Starting July.
Okay.
Yes.
Again, I just want to keep this on the radar. Do you have a new updated response? Because I have the old one.
I'm happy to share this and put it on board docs, just some notes,
Yeah, no, I think it'd be helpful. So, all right. Number 10 was the loan status. You commented earlier, it's been approved.
Yes, the central bank told me the line of credit has been approved, and the money will be available. The paperwork should be done by August 1st. And the money can be available after that.
Okay, all right, great. Number 11 is just I know the audit has started.
Yes. Usually they will, well, depends on when I can close finish the year-end closing. And they will start, they will come by late July or early August to go over everything. And they will schedule a meeting, interview with you and the library director. And also we will send out confirmation letters to all board members and key staff members soon, signed by me. And the letters will have return address with email to the auditors.
So there's no, I mean, everything's on schedule. I know we have to have this done.
We will have a draft by the end of August and a final by September.
And typical schedules, they report at the September board meeting, correct? And we approve and we accept the audit in September.
Yeah, if there's, yeah, in case, yeah, well, unless there's a delay for some reasons, but otherwise, September meeting should be, yeah.
Okay, so do we, refresh, there's no statutory requirement that it be done?
Oh, yeah,
There is.
before the end of September.
It is, okay. All right. I remember that. Okay. Now we can go to number 12, right? Wait till Cody gets the schedule up.
Now we're back to, okay. Again, this year the tax assessment and the collections, we just cover the collection part, not the assessment. In June, we have received a preliminary assessment from all 3 counties. In September, probably late September, we will receive the final assessment. And the final assessment will be different. Not too much, maybe 1 or 2% difference. Okay, for Jackson County, the real estate property tax, real estate assessment increased by 36.8%. Personal property decreased by 7.1%. The total assessment is $12.1 billion versus $9.5 billion. That's over 27% increase in Jackson County. For Clay County, the real property assessment increased over 16%. Personal increased by just 1.7%. And we have not received a state assessed value yet. So the total amount is just over $6 billion versus $5.3 billion. That's 12.7% increase in Clay County. For Platte County, the real assessment is close to 13% increase. Personal is 2.2% increase. The total amount is $3.6 billion versus $3.29 billion a year ago. That's 10.3% increase in Platte County. And all of them add up, all 3 counties, the total assessment is $21.8 billion versus $18.2 billion. That's close to 20% increase. If we look by tax type, for the whole district-wide, the total real assessment increased by $26.8 billion. But the personal assessment decreased by 6.5%. Also, we received new construction and tax abatement. New construction will give us indication about future tax revenue. In Jackson County, the new construction decreased by 62%. TIF increased by 30%. In Platte County, by the way, among the decrease of new construction in Jackson County, the residential part decreased by 60%. So commercial no change, residential decreased by 60% in Jackson County. In Platte County, new construction only decreased by 1.2%. TIF increased by 8.5%. In Clay County, new construction decreased by 16%. Residential decreased by 30% in Clay County. TIF it increased by 25%. So for the whole district, the new construction decreased by 36%, and the TIF increased by over 24%. Based on those numbers, my estimate for tax levy with voluntary reduction maybe about 30.6 cents. Current year is 32.4 cents. So we could have a 2 cents reduction in tax levy. But with that reduced tax levy, we will still receive close to $67 million versus $59 million a year ago. That will still give us 13% increase tax revenue. That's the assessment. Again, the final assessment will received by late September.
But these are all preliminary before all the appeals, right? And so Jackson County is, no wonder we're having appeals.
I lost mine.
Just let you know.
I don't know yet, but anyway, we're not going to get into that. So the only question I had, Quan, and we can do this, we don't have to do this here, is to look back at this relative to the levy projection we did last September, see where we stand.
Well,
in terms of what we had, what you call, what I think for your set of numbers, and then we took a more conservative set of numbers, and which one is closer.
This is still bigger than the projection we did in September last year, because we did not project such a big increase in assessment.
Right. Okay, I have a question. Does the new construction of 22, does that flip up into the assessment up above? Is that
well, 1 year behind?
Well, no, but as part of so for example, Jackson County goes from 145 down to 55.
Yes.
Okay, so did part of that 145 just get reclassified up into, Cody, scroll up. Can you? Okay. So part of the 145, does that end up in the 10 point? Is that up in the 10 million? Because new construction went. I can't have both.
Part of the assessment.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying in terms of where the valuation. So if I look at Jackson's or any of the counties, the real property. So last year Jackson was 7.3 plus. Okay, but that was property that did not include. That's just finished properties, correct?
Yes.
So if it was new construction in 22, doesn't that new construction now just become part of the real property total?
Yes.
So part of that part or all of that 144 is up in the 10 million now. Is that am I doing that correctly?
No,
because it
I
can't
believe that's the 144 new construction is a part of the 7.3 in 2022.
So you're saying Jackson County bumped values by 30, just apples to apples?
If you back out the new construction, the increase is even more.
Oh my gosh. I wonder No wonder they're.
I think the average is 36, 37%.
Yeah, the average was 35 or 36.
Yeah, that was my understanding from local media.
Yeah.
Yeah, those numbers are
Yeah.
about right. And also this morning, on the drive in, I heard that.
Didn't you say the, in 2019, the protested taxes were like 20,000?
20,000 accounts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard this morning there was 60,000 already.
20,000 was nothing compared to this year.
That's why they keep extending the deadline.
It was
Yeah.
30,000 last Friday.
Yeah, I
I mean,
heard,
that's just
I heard
insane.
60 already.
Yeah.
I know my increase was 35% and I lost an appeal to reduce that 10 days ago. So, we have a 35% increase in our assessed value.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the population will grow in Jackson County, but
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So. Have any other comments? Oh, no. Okay, so just to go back and refresh, so everybody's fully aware of the levy process. Historically, we would receive the final assessments by either end of August or early September. Quan would do his final calculations. Those then get submitted to
To
the,
the state auditor's office for mass check.
right, okay. So do they then go back to the counties?
No,
They don't.
we will give the calculation to the library board for consideration. If the library board choose the calculator, the levy, then we will, if the board pass a motion to adopt the levy, then we'll give that levy to each county, and each county will submit it to the state auditor's office for certification.
Okay, all right. But it does go back to the county before it's final. So the process would be, again, this will come back in September. The board will approve this at the board meeting in September, and September 30th is the drop dead date
Yes,
for submitting back to the counties.
yes.
But I don't know how Jackson County can deal with all these appeals by September. Which gets to that discussion we had earlier of people, what level will they pay as they're protesting and ultimately gets resolved still in the fiscal year, the new fiscal year.
Yes.
So the question is, if somebody has a mortgage on their loan, do the servicing companies or the banks, whoever one thing, do they still submit the taxes and then there's a true up once this is resolved? I mean, not everybody has their house paid off.
So that's a great question. I just don't know how they can resolve 60,000 appeals.
I'm with you.
And I believe that number. I think it's happening.
Statutes need to be fixed. Yeah, statutes need to be fixed. Okay, that's just my personal view, sorry. Any other questions or comments on that? Other business? I don't have any. Do you have any?
Do not.
Quan?
No.
Ron? Yami?
No, all good, thank you.
All right, then I would take a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second, motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.